Yeah, so I was sort of rearranging my comics and everything, and I thought, you know what, guys, not many people give some love to the indies out there. So this is going to be my comic collection, but this isn't going to include like things like the comic books, like, Marvel, DC. It's not only going to include these are like independent stories, which I'm going to include because I feel that they need some love. So, because there are other comics other than superhero comics out there. So, yeah. So the first one here is Snow White Zombie Apocalypse. Now, I believe this is what do you call it? A Kickstarter. So I believe soon. I believe there's going to be no more issues in the series, but currently he only released this one, which is a really good one. But it's basically what it is: Snow White and the Zombie Apocalypse. Now, this one I picked up at a Comic Con. So it's got two stories. So it's got The Commute, and then it's got Peel. Peel is my favourite. Peel's by B.C. Brown, and it's kind of like what it is. It's a bit gruesome. It's about people ripping their skin, and it's one of those. But it's a really good one. Next one are these Joel ones. So I have issue 1 and issue 2. I did have issue 3 somewhere. It might not actually be in this pile, or I lost it, but basically each one represents an emotion. So this one is happiness, this one's sadness, and there's a third one which is anger. So yeah, these are really good and interesting ones. But I remember I got these from a Comic Con. A lot of these kind of like indie kind of comics I did discover at Comic Cons, and it's usually not the big ones, it's the smaller ones, because the smaller ones always put a lot more focus on the independent writers, curators, and than the big MCM ones. But yeah, now technically, this is not indie, but it was in this pile anyway, and it's the saga. What's it? There's loads of volumes in this, but I've only got volume 1 and volume 2. I need to sort of, get the other volumes because I do enjoy this. But yeah, I thought I'd include it anyway because it was in this pile. The next one is the Red Mother series. I did do reviews on this on my channel. I didn't do the final one just because obviously that year was so hectic, and to do one now is kind of, well, you're probably not really interested because it's been out for how long. But you can get this in volumes now, so it's split into volume 1 and volume 2. But this is a really good series if you've not checked it out. It is by can find the name on any of them. Yeah, it's by Jeremy Horn. I can't say his last name, and Danny Lurker. But yeah, it's a really good one. I believe Jeremy is the artist behind it. I believe. Don't get me wrong. Don't, you know, whatever that word is, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah. Next one I have is next. This is by Harry Connor. This is a really good one. It's kind of like, it's written like a video game. It's basically a video game in comic form, if that makes any sense. Except for you're not playing it, you're watching it or reading it, if that makes any sense. But that's how this one works out. So it's very unique. Ones are by Rachel Smith. I love Rachel Smith so much. The first comic I read by her, I believe, is The Rabbit. This one is such a weird, like, fever dream of a story, but it's a really good one. But recently, a comics like this one goes on about her, like, sort of like her mental health and stuff like that. They're like, the comics are really relatable, if that makes any sense. And then I also have also The Rabbit and Artificial Flowers are all kind of like independent kind of like stories, as in not necessarily in her life, like biographies, mini biographies, if that makes any sense. Stand in Your Power is, but yeah, it's just like this one's like really relatable and stuff, but you should check her out. I will link down her Etsy where you can buy her comics and stuff. But yeah, this one's a controversial one. because for me, I feel that Dirf took advantage of Dharma, even though he ended up being a serial killer. It's not like I have sympathy for Dharma, but reading this made me hate him more. I mean, not Dharma necessarily, but hate the writer as well, because there was so much things that the school missed and him as well. It's like, really? I mean, it's an interesting one to read if you're interested in stuff like that, but it just makes the writer kind of come across as a dick. So there is that, but you know, if you're interested in Dharma and that serial killer kind of thing, then give it a try. If you didn't know, Durf went to school with him, so yeah. Next one is Bow Time by David Robertson. I did a review on this and the guy commented, which I didn't expect, and I'm like, okay, this is a bit awkward, but this is a really good one. It's a short little story, but yeah, it's somewhere in my channel. I believe it's this channel that I did a review on it. Next one is The Ice Cream Man. This is volume 1. It's basically mini stories and they're kind of all like weird and stuff, if that makes sense. It's one of those kind of not trippy, but one of those kind of like Twilight Zone sort of stories, if that makes any sense. This is by Maxwell Prince, Martin Maruzo, and Chris O'Halloran. But as I said, this is volume 1. If you've not read this comment and you like horror, you need to. This is like the one of those like ones that you need to kind of read. Like, it's just so good. This is The Witches by Snyder, Jack, Hollingsworth, and Robbins. This is volume 1. It's such a good like horror. Well, it's only 1 volume anyway, but so I don't know why it's got volume. Anyway, whatever. It's a really good horror story. It's so good. If you're a massive fan of horror, this is one that you need to read. And then the next one is A Disease by Paul Kane and Paul Cardis, is what it basically says in the and the name of the title is about a disease. It's published by Shock Value, which kind of do these kind of like horror kind of comics, and it's perfect for what we're going through currently, which people seem to think has just disappeared when it hasn't. But yeah, this one's a really good one as well. Then the final one, it's not comics per se, they're dad jokes, and this is by Alan Henderson. Basically comic strips of penguins telling really cheesy jokes. There's quite a few volumes on this, but I discovered this guy on at a Comic Con again. But yeah, it's just a fun one to read when you just want cheering up and stuff. It's just basically what it is. And if you follow his Instagram, I'll probably link it down below if I remember it. He posts like daily kind of penguin jokes as well. So, a great way to start the day. So that's it for this video. So bye guys.